man. I hate that.
I hate it too. And so that was like the appetizer for the night gut punch,
Oh man.
And we'll get into this heavy, this strategy and what Thomson did and all that. But it sucks. It was all set up especially with the Eagles being off yesterday, for there to be a game 7. And how great would that have been? It was to me, I felt like they were going to win the game just because it was part of the ride. It would have been such an up and down year that it was almost meant to be that there was going to be a game 7. And, it was with one swing of the bat, man, that dream ended real fast. It's the great thing about sports if you're on the right end of it. Bryce Harper hits a home run against the Padres. It's the greatest thing ever. Yeah. But, man, when that happens, when you're on the other end of it, woo, it is not fun.
Rob, to be honest with you, when I heard it hit the bat, before the camera even shifted to show it sailing 25 miles out of the stadium, as soon as it hit the bat, I said, it's gone. It's gone. And I'm sitting here, and the first thing I said, Serrano finally did something. So Serrano finally, said, forget you, Joe Boo. I do this for myself.
Yeah. Yep.
What?
Yeah, Joe. Well, look, Richie Mack, Joe Carter. That's what it felt like. It felt like 1993 all over again, and it was Game 6.
But see, look, like Rob, you brought it up, during your broadcast, and I was just listening to you. Man, I love that we're going to have an unbiased eye with the GM, because he doesn't have any loyalty to anybody.
No.
And Hoskins, he's going to give a fair assessment on whether they're going to go forward at Hoskins or not. I thought that was great in how you kind of put that in. I'm not going to say you manipulated it in, but you already set up the table for what's going to happen during the offseason, and that was pretty cool.
Thanks, man. And there's some really tough decisions that are going to have to be made, with free agents and with guys who aren't free agents, like Rhys Hoskins. The beauty of Dombrowski is, having been here for just a short period of time, he doesn't feel the loyalty that these other guys have felt who drafted Hoskins. I'm just using Hoskins as an example, but he's coming in like from 1,000 feet and saying, this worked, this didn't work, this was good, but it's not good enough. There's going to be some really, really, like, some fan favorite types that I think may be going by.
Right. I mean, and you brought up a nice topic as far as, all right, we don't need any more bangers. We don't need any heavy hitters. Yeah. We need guys to get on base.
Yep.
It's almost like,
i.e. Houston Astros.
Right. Guys,
not sluggers.
You can play small ball with. We need small ball play. We don't have that. It's either feast or famine, and you can't go out to see. Well, we made it. We were just like you said. We were 2 games. We missed out on 1 game. 1 game. And there was 1 game we could have played, and we didn't play in that game. That's it. We played the entire season, but 1 game.
Yeah.
So that was success.
Right.
That was
for sure. For
Jeremy,
sure.
Jeremy Pena is an assassin.
He's a beast.
He's an assassin. Rookie. How about what he does as a rookie?
Yeah.
A Gold Glove, LCS MVP, World Series MVP.
Incredible.
That can you imagine being in your first year in the majors in any sport and clean sweeping like that as a rookie?
Just rip my contract up now.
Exactly.
Give me a new one right now.
Hey,
I'm with you. It's amazing what he was able to do. And it's just such that's the thing, we talk about the Eagles and the Eagles' ability to beat you in a lot of different ways. That's what makes the Eagles so good. The Phillies were very home run dependent. Even if you think back to the game where they hit 5, and they won in Game 3. After that, they really just died on the vine. And the problem is, you got to be able to have a plan B or go to if you're not hitting those home runs. And that's just not who the Phillies are. And that's something they have to get better at next year if they want to advance. You're right, Barrett. There's a lot of positive takeaways for this, and it's not gloom and doom. My God, you took it to the second last game that you could take it to. So they had an unbelievable season. It was a real hard way to end, especially when you consider the way it played out with the managerial choice there.
So what type of player would you want, man? You want a Jamie Moyer type of player, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, something like that? Because Chase was more so that guy that got on base also.
Yeah, for
Jimmy
sure.
became a home run hitter after we'd won World Series 08. From that point on, he just thought he was going to swing for the fence every single time after that, and wanted to be a home run hitter. But I mean, you need guys like that to just get on base sometimes. Man.
Yeah, I mean, look, Trey Turner is a great example, and he's a free agent of a guy who's a hitter. He's not just he's got pop, but he's a hitter. Okay. He'll hit for high average. He has the ability to advance runners if you have to. to give you the option of playing small ball. And that's something that this team lacked. Even during the regular season, they were able to overcome some of this simply because they were going to outslug you. But the problem, too, is you have to improve your defense, too. I mean, you just make it so hard on yourself when, you struggle to field the ball. And that's one of the things. I think Rhys Hoskins can survive if he's used in a DH role here, but he can't survive in the field. And some of that's going to depend on Harper getting his elbow surgery and how bad it is and how much that cleanup is. Like Tommy John, it's a form of Tommy John. Tommy John isn't nearly as taxing on guys getting back as it is on pitchers.
Like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, how do you do it? Do we get a? That's why I said to Jamie Morris for defense, as far as pitching in the bullpen. We got our ass kicked by the bullpen in this World Series.
Great pitching will neutralize great hitting every time.
Yeah,
from a defensive standpoint.
In fairness and credit to the Astros, you came up against a juggernaut. Like, that team is stacked and good and deep.
The bullpen is better than the starters.
Yeah, their bullpen is insanely good. Their starters are phenomenal. And their hitters are good. You never got a break. Like, okay, so-and-so, your starter's coming out. Oh, great. Who's coming in? This dude? They're just nasty.
So once the game ended, I started doing all these stats. All these stats started going in my head. And I went back and I looked. And the first 3 games, the Phillies scored 13 runs. The last 3 runs, 9 hits.
Right.
They take a 2-1 series lead, and you're thinking they have the momentum. They give it right back with a no-hitter the next night. So, okay, you're thinking it's even Steven now. They're going to go out. When Schwarber, you know what? I'm going to be honest. When Schwarber hit that home run in Game 6, I'm sitting there, I'm going, basically what you did was wake up Houston. That's all you did. And lo and behold, the next inning, next half inning, everything just implodes for the Phillies. And I sit here 2 days later, and I'm still thinking, for as much as we applauded Rob Thomson for making all the right moves from the time he took over this team up until Game 6 plus, and I say Game 6 plus because you know where I'm going. Why in the world would you take Wheeler out on 70 pitches? Houston could barely touch him. It was a 1st and 3rd situation, but you let that man work your way out of it.
Yeah.
And you go back to a guy who the game before got in trouble in Alvarado. Why would you do that?
Yeah. All right. So a couple things. I completely disagreed with taking him out. You gave him the extra rest so he could be himself, and he was being himself. He was the ace. He was dealing.
The ball was popping.
They had no answers for him. There was no hard contact. You think about it, that inning where it all came unglued, he hits a guy who borderline, didn't move to get out of the way, whatever.
Exactly.
We could argue that.
Yeah.
The other one, Altuve dribbles one up the middle. It wasn't hard hit. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't like he was escaping jams or anything like that, right? So he was in a bit of a pickle with runners at 1st and 3rd, but I'm taking my chances with Wheeler all day.
Thank you.
He was only at 70 pitches. Like, I'd rather go down with him than go down with anybody else.
Yes, that's it right there.
He'd only given up 3 hits.
Right. It's a weird contrast because Thompson wouldn't change the lineup, like the top part of the lineup. He stayed loyal to those guys. Stay loyal to Wheeler.
Exactly.
Yes.
Stay loyal to Wheeler, too. And look, I think Rob Thomson pushed so many right buttons to help get the Phillies
no question
to where they got to. But you can say that. You could also say, I don't think he made a good move there. He was so married to that, 3rd time around in the order, and his arm must be getting tired and all that. Man, can we throw that crap out? This analytic where you're not, like, your eyes told you this guy's pitching well.
Yes.
And the other thing is, Yordan Alvarez is just as good against lefties and righties. If you look at his splits in the regular season, they're basically identical.
Yes.
So you're not gaining a big advantage throwing a lefty in there.
No.
You're better off with the dude who's hot and rolling and who got him out, what was it, I think twice already in the game?
Twice, yeah.
Then bringing the guy cold, I know he's warmed up in the bullpen, but you know what I mean, cold into the game and trying to get an out. And Alvarado had a rough outing the last time out. So I'm sure his confidence wasn't super high either.
Oh, my goodness. For last game out, the first batter he hits.
Yeah,
He hits
first batter he hits. Yeah,
Okay.
and then it's a shame that it ends that way because it all came unglued, in that inning. But there was that. But you guys are right about the offense. I mean, they batted 159 in the series. 159. They struck out 71 times. That's the all-time record. That's almost 12 strikeouts per game.
Yes.
For 6 games. I mean, that is a ton. They had 3. The only hit run they scored game 6 is the Schwarber solo shot. They couldn't generate anything offensively.
I'll say this. At least we got beat by a better team.
Yeah.
You did.
Around. They were a better team. We were I'm not gonna say we were on borrowed time, but we were riding a streak. We were riding a high, and we just got hot, and we kind of fizzled out. And that's the basis of it. We went down the way the season went down. We were hot and cold, either off or on, and we just happened to be off the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Rob was talking a moment ago about Thompson's refusal to change the top of the lineup. So the last 3 games, here's the top of his lineup, Barrett. Schwarber, 2 for 10, 4 strikeouts. Hoskins, 0 for 13, 6 strikeouts. Realmuto, 1 for 12, 7 strikeouts. Harper, 1 for 8, 4 Ks. Of course, he had some walks in there. And there's the big one, my guy, Castellanos, 0 for 11, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah. I mean, that's just murder. That's just murder. I don't know how else to put it. With Hoskins, Realmuto, and Castellanos specifically, at least Schwarber hit you a couple bombs. With those 3 specifically, going 1 for 36 with 22 strikeouts the last 3 games, I don't care who you're playing.
Nope.
Like it's almost impossible to win that way. And so as much as the attention is on Thomson making that move, the bats, which they were supposed to be a hitting team, killed them.
And the bottom half of the lineup, which we had applauded for carrying this team through much of the season, was in the witness protection program.
Yep.
They were nowhere to be found.
You're right.
Really, nobody.
See, my glass is half full still, D-Gun.
How's that?
Look at what they had to work with, man.
No question. No question.
We had a DH, man, that didn't play in the field. So that meant he was the only guy that can play DH because he was our superstar.
Yeah.
So we couldn't alternate them guys. And maybe we did put Hoskins in as a DH guy. If we could go out and things could be different, man. I don't see how we made it that far in all actuality. Yeah. How do we make it that far?
You got hot at the right time. You got hot at the right time.
Yeah. You got a bullpen that's this is not a good bullpen.
No,
we knew this.
You went from only getting into playoffs because Major League expanded the playoff format
right.
to being 2 wins away from winning it all, shocking the world and winning it all. And Houston didn't have the most wins in the majors, but they definitely had the best team in the majors. There's no question about it.
Yeah, for sure they did. You went up against a team that was really on a mission. If you think about Houston, they won it in 17, but everybody thinks they cheated their way, and it's bogus and whatever. And then they got close a bunch of times, and they brought in Dusty. Dusty had been close a ton of times in his managerial, and he won it as a player, but in his managerial career. So you had a lot of that going against you. You had a Phillies team with a lot of inexperience.
And that too.
Yeah. And to their credit, a lot of guys overachieved. You had clutch moments, Harper, Hoskins home run, Realmuto inside the park home run, whatever. You had a lot of clutch moments. Here's the real sad thing. After you had that game 3 explosion where you hit the 5 home runs, you just died on the vine. They hit you. Mm-hmm. You really the killer though, guys, was game 5.
Oh,
you had Verlander on the ropes.
Yep.
You had every opportunity to if you escape that, you're at least in a game 7, no matter what happens Saturday.
Yep.
And you were going to look back to me. I'm not looking back at that home run. I'm looking back at game 5 when they had every opportunity to win that game. So it's a shame. It's sometimes though, it's the lumps you need to go through
to get better.
And how many times have we seen a team make a nice run in the postseason? They get a taste of it. And then they're like, okay, now we know what it's like. We know what this is all about. Maybe that's the way this plays after the Phillies. It is an important offseason because if you think about it from a starting pitching standpoint, you're going to have Wheeler, Nola, Suarez. You like that. You really need a quality 4th starter. Bad. Okay,
Let me
they
ask you
can't do the
this.
bullpen game stuff.
Do you think it's guaranteed that Nola will be back?
I think I do. I think Nolan.
Think so?
I'm not gonna let him go. I mean, regardless, even he's Mr. Non-October, I still think that
He's usually non-September.
Yeah, he was good in September.
He was
and
good in
October.
September this year. Yep.
The other thing is he's really cheap for what his production is. They got him at a good deal before he hit free agency, so he's not killing you money wise.
I wonder how much they can truly change the complexion of this roster without being too financially burdened. Because we agree.
Good question.
We agree they need. I'm not saying they need significant wholesale changes, but they need a lot. They do need a lot. They need to find 3 arms for the bullpen. You need to get a little better in the field. You need to get better spray hitters.
At least.
Okay. So I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to try to find in an offseason.
Yeah, I think in an ideal scenario, you could do 2 things here to improve your defense and get yourself a good hitter. Let's say Harper comes back and he's fine. He gets the elbow work, he gets the surgery and he's good. He's in right.
What are you doing now, though? He needs to do it like the end of the week.
Yes, he does. Right.
Don't do like football players
Right.
a week before training camp.
Well, I don't want to hear like, hey, I'm going to get another injection and hope this thing heals. No.
Yes, exactly. Let's do it like at the end of the week. I want you in there by Friday.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, and he gets 3 days off and go get surgery. So, all right, let's say dream scenario, he's good to go in right field. It may not be the very beginning of the season, but for the most part, he's going to be ready. He plays right. You could either DH Castellanos. They may look to explore to trade him too. That's not out of the question. It's going to be hard, but they might explore that. But Castellanos either DHs, right? Or you throw him in left. Schwarber either DHs, or you throw Schwarber at first base.
I agree. Put Schwarber
That's what I would do. I would put Schwarber
at
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then when you do a bomb, you keep bomb at third?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways you play off of that. Either you trading Hoskins or Hoskins is going to DH, or you go out and get yourself a third baseman and Bohm moves over to first. You can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So you're upgrading yourself. Bohm's really he made such a stride at third. I'm okay with Bohm at third next year. I really am. That kid improved mightily over there.
Where do you put Stott at there?
The other scenario, Barrett, is you let Segura walk, you move Stott over to second, which I think he'll be fine at second.
I think no doubt. Also.
And you sign Trey Turner, he plays short. Trey Turner's also a phenomenal fielder. So if you have an improved Bohm at third with Trey Turner at short, with Stott at second, and somebody else playing first base, you all of a sudden with Real Muto have a very good fielding infield.
Yes.
Okay. You have Harper in right. And I know Castellanos made 3 great catches. I'm taking nothing away from them. They were clutch and money catches. But Harper's a massive upgrade generally over Castellanos. All of a sudden, you're better in right. Marsh is likely to be in Vierling or maybe your platoon in center field. Those 2 can both field. Center field's good. You figure out left. Like, you're way better defensively in any of those scenarios.
No
Easier
question.
said than done.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. I mean, Trey Turner's going to cost a boatload.
But you just made it. You made it all work well. There it is. You got it now.
That's it. Dave Dombrowski, listen up.
Right.
I'll tell you the other guy that's intriguing to me at shortstop, if it's not Trey Turner. Dansby Swanson's a free agent.
It's true.
Atlanta has not re-signed him, man.
No, that's true.
So
I can't imagine Atlanta letting him get away. But then again, they let Freeman get away. So who knows?
I know. I wonder. I look at it 2 different ways. Can they possibly let 2 homegrown guys like that walk 2 straight years, or do they just look at it like, hey, we'll just keep cranking out this minor league system or whatever, and we'll be fine?
Well, I was just going to say.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you talk about Atlanta, they are the premier team in terms of elevating players from the minor league system.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there's somebody we don't even know about that they've been keeping their eye on who could step up next year.
Totally.
Well, I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking right there. I'm thinking homegrown. I really can't count Hall out of all these scenarios playing first.
Yeah. I wonder if Barrett. The question I would have that I think they have with him, not a bat off the bench. I think that's a distinct possibility next year. But I don't know if they feel like he can hit left-handed pitching on an everyday basis to be your starting first baseman. Because you're talking about a guy who's 26-ish. He's not a kid. It's taken him a while just to get this far. So I do wonder about that. I think he's an option on the team for sure. I just don't think he's an option every day. I don't think they view him that way. But I saw enough from him that I'd be perfectly comfortable with that dude, man, in a pinch hitting spot, or you give your guy a rest at first base, whatever, being in there for sure. But look, here's the thing. I really think there's two things about Dombrowski. One, what we pointed out earlier, he hasn't been here that long where he looks at this very objectively. Two, this guy's built championships everywhere he's gone. He knows what they need. He knows. You're not going to hear it publicly. He's not a leak kind of guy.
No.
But he knows. I think Reese, there's two really fascinating things. What do you do with Hoskins?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with Segura?
Yep.
Segura, they have a team option of $17 million with Segura. I don't think they want to pay Gene Segura $17 million.
I don't either, but I think if things don't work out, I'm fine with Segura coming back, to be honest with you. I'm fine with him coming back. Yeah. As much as you'd like to have an upgrade, everybody's harping about Trey Turner. If he prices himself out of the Phillies market, I'm fine with Segura.
Derek, I agree. Like if those guys are asking $40 million, $30 million, okay, then you can't play. Like you're already paying Real Muto, Castellanos, and Schwarber, not to mention Wheeler, a ton. You can't afford. You can't do that all across the board.
No,
I'd be okay with Segura. That's
so. Give me you guys. I want you first, Rob, and then you next. D-Gun. What's your bullpen look like? Who are you going to keep in the bullpen? Who are the guys you're going to keep?
The one that I don't know yet. What do you do with Eflin?
Yeah,
he's a free agent too. Do you view him as a bullpen piece, or do you try to go the starter route again with him?
Right.
That's the one I don't know. And I'll just, so that aside, absolutely Sir Anthony. Sir Anthony's second year that now off of Tommy John, which I think he's going to be nasty next year. I like the way that sets up. Despite how it went, I still think Alvarado has turned the page, and the guy's throwing 100, and I'm good there. The guys I would move on from: Robertson's a free agent, bye-bye. Hand's a free agent, bye-bye. They're gone. Out. You need a quality lefty. That's one of the first moves I'm making. Barrett out of the bullpen. And I'm trying to think of other guys that I feel good about in this. But you know what?
Like
Brogdon started to come around and he's still young enough that I feel good about him in some kind of middle relief role or setup role. I think it's everybody, right? Did I miss anybody?
Well, so Suarez stays. Definitely. Syndergaard, I'm on the fence with.
He's gone.
I'm on the fence with Syndergaard.
I can't see him staying. I was on his bandwagon for a little bit.
Yeah.
I really thought his maturity level was going to help him in it. And it kind of worked out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Kyle Gibson's gone.
Gibson's gone. Yeah.
I didn't ask you about. I already knew you. Him and Hand has been gone for.
Oh God. I drove both of those guys.
If Nick Nelson slips out the back door, I have no problem with that.
Oh, you know what, Bilotti? I'm good with Bilotti coming back.
Bilotti's okay. Take Nick Nelson and bye.
Yeah,
nice knowing you.
Nick Nelson's a guy. Who cares?
Exactly.
I don't care.
He's a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he's your last bullpen guy, okay, fine, whatever. One way or the other.
I know we're still. I don't mean to cut you off, right? But I want to say this before I forget. Philadelphia gets such a negative image across America in terms of fan base being these crusty old bitter sea captains. When things don't happen. One of the proudest things since I've been here 25 plus years is that while Phillies fans was hurting, across social media, I saw them giving props to Houston and saying, you know what, I'm happy Dusty Baker finally won one. And, I never thought I would see that in Philadelphia, but they gave due where due was should be given to that organization for assembling a phenomenal team, and for Dusty Baker, over 2,000, over 2,100 games managed, and finally getting his World Series ring. And I'm like, okay, sporadically, but across social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you see a lot of Philly fans giving props to Houston and Dusty Baker. And I said, that's cool.
I'm glad you pointed that out, Derek. So two things that I felt, I didn't feel good about Houston winning, but two things that are the offshoots of that I liked. One is Dusty. When a guy pays his dues that long in the game, guy's 70-something years old.
73 years old.
He broke in 68 as a 19-year-old rookie. He played with Hank Aaron. Okay, that tells you how far back Dusty goes, right? So to see him finally get one as a manager, I thought was really cool. And Trey Mancini had stage 3 colon cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. And not only did the dude survive, he survived and came back to play Major League Baseball.
Nothing.
Okay. For that dude to get one is pretty cool. You know,
Exactly.
that's you're in bad shape with stage 3 cancer. Okay.
And he comes in and out of emergency because of Gurriel hurting his knee, and makes a definitive play to turn the outcome of a game.
Yep.
One of the best lines ever. I was going to tackle that ball if I had to.
Yeah.
And that's what he did, because he did everything Hoskins did not do. He got his body in front of the ball. He made sure that ball was not getting past him. He knocked it down, extended his foot, got a significant out. I mean, but you're right. When stage 3 colon cancer, and he's what? In his 20s?
He's 25, 26.
25 years old, and now he's a World Series champion.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
I felt great for those two guys. Okay. As miserable as it was, you know, Saturday night and Sunday. I will tell you the other thing that I thought was interesting, Barrett, and I appreciate you listening yesterday. I had a caller from Houston, and the guy said, you know, I was waiting on hold, just ready to jump on you and crush all the Philadelphia fans. And he said, but in listening to you guys, I'm blown away how gracious you guys are and understand and all this other stuff. And it was kind of cool, man. Like he's like, I have nothing bad to say, man. You know, all this other stuff. It was kind of different. We do get the reputation of
you do
being cretins and knuckle draggers and you know all that.
Stuff.
Yeah. So
but I thought that was very upstanding of the Philadelphia fan base for taking. I mean, they're hurting. You know, when they took that 2-1 series lead, all you saw across social media was, we're 2 wins away from this. Oh, my goodness, we're going to do the impossible. Nobody thought we could be here. And the very next night, the wind is taken out of everybody's wait a minute. They just set a World Series record for 5 home runs in a game the night before. Mm-hmm. And then they turn around and get no hit the next night.
Yeah.
And the wind was taken out of their sail, but they're still thinking we have a chance. It's even now. It's a best of 3. Mm-hmm. I think the true dagger in the series was Game 5 when McCormick stole that ball at the wall. When he scaled that wall and stole that ball, I think that was the dagger in everybody's sail in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because when that ball took off, you're thinking that's at least a double. And he goes up and scales, and I said it last week, I'll say it again. I don't think that guy's ever jumped that high in his life before.
No.
You heard what Dustin said? He said, he claimed he was a basketball player. Well, you know what? I don't doubt that anymore.
No.
And he's doing it. He's from Westchester. I know he's doing it in his hometown with his whole family, you know, right there in the outfield watching him do it. So the only thing, my only concern and annoyance to an extent, I just don't want everybody dumping this on Rob Thomson. Like, I didn't like the move. I hated pulling Wheeler there. As I said, I hated it. But you can't let the bats off the hook. You can't.
No, you can't.
You can't let Hoskins butchering a ball in Game 5, which led to the winning run. You can't do it. Like, this was a team loss. It wasn't just on the manager. And I hope Rob Thomson learns from this, and he learns to keep his ace in there next year. That's what I hope the takeaway is from this.
That's it. Learn from it.
You know, and he's willing to change his lineup around a little bit more than maybe he was. So he isn't stubborn or whatever. But this wasn't all on him. More than anything else, your bats let you down.
Well, and there lies the key that we have to understand, that I don't think that our bullpen helped us enough. When we kind of we're supposed to be a team that, you know, scores, and our bats let us down. But this goes to show how far we are from a lineup, from a bullpen's perspective, and we now have an accurate barometer on what we need to strive for in the team we just played.
Yeah,
see those guys, and you got to know in order for us to compete, we got to have a bullpen. We got to have a bullpen.
Well, you look at the 2 teams the Phillies played prior to getting to the World Series. St. Louis supposedly had a much better bullpen than the Phillies. San Diego had a deeper bullpen than the Phillies. They were able to overcome them. Mm-hmm. But then you face the creme de la creme. Atlanta, even the Dodgers. Didn't make it. Atlanta didn't make it. Mm-hmm. They all supposedly had better bullpens than the Phillies. You know, and it's just that you just unfortunately had to go up against the creme de la creme of bullpens in the majors when you got to Houston, and you were able to survive for a while. But you know, when your 5 top hitters go 4 for 54 in their last 3 games, with 30 strikeouts.
Yeah, you can't win.
You can't. You're not winning. You can't win like that.
Nope.
And it didn't. You know, every team. You think every team has that when you go to your bullpen, they have the one or two guys you're sitting there going, "Oh, geez, what's he going to do today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy." You know, prime example, the Phillies.
Yep.
When anytime a Houston Astros reliever came out, like I'm sitting there going, I can't wait to see what he's throwing today. You know, Brayu comes in, shoo, it doesn't make a difference. Presley comes in, it doesn't make a difference. And then you look at the starters. The two best starters were not even the top pitchers.
No, not in terms of the order in which they took. The only guy who fell apart on them was McCullers. Now, Verlander was okay. Like I said,
for 3 innings the first game.
Yeah, but their other guy, I mean, Christian Javier was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness, Javier and Valdez.
And Valdez was ridiculous.
Oh my goodness.
And it's Houston's. There's a reason they swept everybody leading up to the Phillies. It's not a coincidence. Okay, no, Houston's nasty. And they're going to be nasty for a while. They just recharge and reload.
You sweep the Yankees, you're doing your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're good.
So,
they're good.
All right. Just put that in perspective.
Yeah.
They swept the Yankees.
The Phillies were the first team to beat them in the postseason.
Yes.
So the Phillies had a hell of a year. They gave the mantra is always what? Just get us the Eagles football.
True.
Just get us the Eagles football for the Phillies, right?
Yeah.
Training camp started in the middle of July. We're at November 7th, and we're talking about the Phillies right now.
Yep, absolutely.
So they gave us, a lot. They gave us a lot this year. So credit to them. It was a hell of a run.
They got a great foundation to build on. They've got to do some tweaking, but it's a great foundation to build on for next year.
We're going to get heavy into the Eagles at 1, but when we come back, a former Eagles coach is now in the unemployment line. So we will kick that around, and whether or not you bring said coach in for any consultation. So we'll talk about that when we get back. A little bit later, we'll talk about the Eagles. Are they the best team in the NFL? You saw the Bills go down to the Jets. You saw the Chiefs come back against the Titans last night. All kinds of stuff from week 9 in the NFL, positives and negatives as far as the Eagles go. We got some great NFL content, which we're going to be hitting you with in a little bit as well. He's Derek. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. You know what we are? We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, with you on this Monday. All right, let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because here's the thing. You know how difficult it is. You know how hard you work, and you want to make sure that your money's being invested well for you and your family. And I found the right person for me, and he will be the right person for you if you are willing to check him out and just talk to him and find out what he's all about. And that's Jim Murray of Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, if you have a small business and you need help with your employee benefits, you're not quite sure, or if there's anything else, he can help you with any of those resources. I know I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers to Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. Give Jim Murray a call at 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email Jim at Murray, MURRAY.Jim at principal.com. That's Murray.Jim at principal.com.